Now, you might be thinking, Lexi, that's kind of a weird title you've got there. Why are you comparing the Beamer, the Vanu's default sidearm, to the U-150 Recall, a assertable pistol on NSO? Well, you see, especially in PlanetSide 1, the Beamer was notorious for being an absolute piece of shit. It was notorious for being pretty much the worst gun in that game. And when I say the Beamer has competition, you can probably tell what I think of the Recall. This is easily bottom 3 weapons in PlanetSide 2. Like, easily. Terrible. Completely horrific. It might be worse than the XMG 155, which I previously declared the worst weapon in the game. It brings absolutely nothing over the Lastly or the Harbinger. It's competition on NSO, and it doesn't even do anything good compared to the faction-specific options, namely the Magshot on NC and the Manticore on Vanu. It is genuinely pathetic, it is terrible, it offers nothing, and the fact that I'm playing on Connery with 0 population doesn't even matter, because I'm not going to be able to get a kill with this gun anyway. So, let's run through why it sucks. The only thing it does good is it has a 20-round magazine and relatively quick reload speeds. It also has the NSO passive with slightly larger bullets without losing headshot multiplier. On the pistols, that is. That is about where the good things end. So, let's break down why this gun sucks. 261 rounds per minute of fire rate, and 200 damage up to 10 meters. So, for those of you who are not directly into pistols, let's do some comparing. So the other two 200 damage pistols in the game, that being the NC's Magshot and the Vanu's Manticore, also do 200 damage per bullet. The difference is they fire at 351 rounds per minute, which means they fire 90 rounds per minute faster than the Recall does. They also only have a slightly smaller magazine size of 15 rounds each, meaning that the large magazine size of the Recall is pretty much moot compared to those two pistols. So already directly comparing it to the 200 damage pistols on NC and Vanu, it is completely worse, because it fires 90 rounds per minute slower, and that shit will get you killed a lot. Like, I've put 97 kills on this gun, and I'm not touching it. Like, I've put enough kills on this gun to say this is terrible. Now, let's compare it to a pistol with a similar fire rate, the NC's Rebel at 261, and the Vanu's Cerberus at 300. Now, those are also slow rate-of-fire pistols that are on factions, because we're not counting, like, Commissioner, Underboss, or Pilot in this, or they completely blow this thing out of the water. So comparing it to the low fire rate pistols on NC and Vanu, 300 RPM on the Cerberus and 261 on the Rebel, those pistols both do 250 damage, which means they can two-shot headshot. So yes, they fire as slow in the case of the Rebel, or even slightly faster in the case of the Cerberus, and they two-shot to the head. The Recall, 3 shots to the head. Can you see why this gun is bad? It literally offers nothing. Even comparing it to the Lastly, your starter pistol, the Lastly fires at 380 RPM and does 167 damage. Which means it's 3 taps to the head at 380 RPM. It's not like a great pistol by any means. I would consider it the best of the starters. But it kills faster than the Recall does, and it reloads quicker anyway. Like, it's just better. And when you compare the Recall to the Harbinger's, like, goated as shit. It only fires slightly slower than the Recall at 232 RPM, but it does 300 damage per bullet, making it a 2-shot headshot. I don't get why the Recall is the way it is. It genuinely offers nothing. There is not a single thing it does well. It is completely outclassed by literally every other firearm. Literally every other firearm. Like, I was gonna say pistol, but no. Like, this thing is easily bottom 3 worst. Even comparing it to the meme weapon that is the Yawara, the full auto 200 damage pistol, this thing fires at 333 RPM. So it still fires like 70 rounds per minute faster than the Recall does. And it's full auto, so at least you can have a little bit of fun with it. It's just pathetic. The Recall is terrible. Like, look, Connery is bad, like, really bad, and I'm gonna show you, at least attempt to show you, why this gun sucks. I hope the stats alone prove just how overwhelmingly shit this gun is, because I don't even need to show you this gun in combat to just show you how utterly pathetic it is. I'm gonna mag dump it here, okay? You see how slow that is? Like, do you see how utterly slow that is? And with the pretty much 0 damage that this gun deals, Like, what are you gonna do? You literally just lose engagements with it because pretty much every other gun in the entire game out DPSs you, whether on body shots or on heads. So, like, if you have good aim, yeah, you'll just ruin guys who don't know how to headshot. But even then, there's good odds you'll just lose to some gamer running like a CQC primary. Like, it's genuinely horrific. There's no fights here. God, I love Connery. I love Connery so much. Like, I can't... I'm not even mad that I can't show you how this weapon performs in combat, because it is genuinely, far and away, probably the worst gun I've ever used. For reference, on stream, I used this gun for, I think it was 30 kills? Or it might have been 50. It was 30 or 50. Because a viewer suggested I should do so. I have never wanted to uninstall PlanetSide more than I did in that moment. Genuinely, I think those 30 kills with the recall were the most painful thing I've ever done in this game, and I have tried construction, I've Araxium the Corsair, I have played on Connery for the last 8 years. I'm an NSO main, I've got the Miramasa, I've Araxium 5 fucking rocket launchers, and I would still say the recall, those 30 kills, if not 50, with the recall, were genuinely the closest I have actually come to uninstalling in 8 years. It is genuinely that bad. I'm not exaggerating. It is genuinely the worst gun. At the very least, the bottom 3. There's probably another NSO primary that's still worse than this thing that I haven't gotten around to yet. It is genuinely horrific. Don't use it. I can't say anything about it because it's just completely fucking dog shit. Like, it is terrible. It is beyond terrible. If you want to challenge yourself, use it. But you will genuinely hate yourself. You are going to get better results with literally every other secondary in the game. I unironically believe that using the fucking Yaora hip firing at 70 meters would still probably be more reliable than the recall is within 15. It is genuinely the worst pistol I've ever used. If not the worst primary I've ever used. If not the worst gun I've used in any video game. I am struggling to think of things worse than the recall in other shooters. Like, it is so pathetically weak compared to every single other pistol in this game. And comparing it to other weapons that I would consider bad in other shooters, I really still think it's downright terrible. It offers literally nothing. It's not even fun to use. At least shitty meme weapons like the Tengu and the Schrodinger, they're bad, but at least they're kind of funny bad with the gimmick they have going on. The recall isn't even funny. It's just bad. As for how they could save this thing, if they really wanted to save the recall, the minimum they could do would be to raise it to 300 RPM and make it have 200 damage with no drop. It would still be dog shit, but at least then it would be a 3 headshot at all ranges. Yeah, it'd be 300 RPM, but at least then it would have some kind of gimmick. Like, it's bad. I like, even that suggestion I don't think would save this gun. It needs a complete, like, redesign. The other alternative, I think, to making the recall actually work would be to make it a burst pistol. Make it maybe like basically make it like a shitty NSO pilot equivalent. At least that would, like, make it somewhat interesting. You could make it 250 damage on a 2-round burst at, like, 400 RPM. Like, it would still be bad, but at least then in theory you could one-burst people at 450 RPM. Like, even 350 RPM in that 2-round burst. Like, that's probably the only thing I could do to say, here, look, this is how the recall could be actually somewhat viable. And even that would be a complete redesign of everything this weapon is about. Like, this thing is just terrible. I have literally bitched about this gun for 9 minutes. That's how bad it is. And I genuinely cannot think of another gun that deserves this level of bitching more than the recall does. Like, I don't even want to stop bitching about it. It's that bad. I could literally go on for 20 minutes just saying this is genuinely the worst piece of shit I've ever used in a video game. But I'm not going to do that. Please don't use this gun. Whenever Connery gets merged with Emerald, I'll probably make more NSO videos. I've been playing a little bit of TR Emerald on the side, so maybe some TR weapon reviews will come out if Emerald is fun to play, which it's not. So, we'll see. We will see. Thanks for staying with me through this horrific game in this horrific era of PlanetSide. And please just don't use the recall, man.